When we talk about addiction nowadays, we mostly think about dopamine and comfort addiction and stuff like that. But there's also one form of addiction which I probably think most of the people nowadays have this sort of addiction but are not really aware of it because it is not really talked about that much, and but it's also kind of causing some sort of problems in people's life and stuff like that. It is the addiction of validation. I know it sounds weird to say you're somebody being addicted to validation, like what does that even mean? And what I actually mean by that is that there are genuinely people like who are like completely addicted to validation. All right, me being a part of society, I know how validation works. You already know about it. Being a human, everyone wants some sort of validation, some sort of attention, and it is normal. But if it gets to a certain level where you're basically addicted to validation, and if you're one of those guys as well, I think it kind of can be a problematic thing in your life as well. As human beings, it is normal to be wanting validation, attention, and stuff like that. But if it gets to a certain level where you're basically trying to change yourself for validation, acting differently and trying to be different all the times just because you want validation, not being yourself, it kind of gets harmful at some point. I think you might even experience it from a third person perspective. If you have a group of friends and you are going through, and like let's say a group of girls is coming towards you and they start changing the way they act, and it also goes the same for the opposite gender as well. Let's say you're a group of girls and a group of boys is coming towards you, and some of your friends start acting differently and weirdly just for your attention or some sort of validation. You can say that those kind of things are really, we can say that it is validation addiction at that point. Like, and they are addicted to validation. It's kind of like an addiction. It's kind of like a habit at some point. I know it sounds like a character thing, like something that people are born with, and rather than something that is like a habit or like an addiction, which is true in some point. Some people naturally want validation, like some people are naturally born with the character of wanting validation more than the rest of the people. But it is a different kind of phenomenon I'm talking about, that people wanting validation nowadays has increased so much compared to the past. You might also be a part of it, where basically you're just completely addicted to validation. You're constantly trying to change yourself, you're constantly trying to seek approval, you're constantly like trying to how, I don't know, how would I describe it? I would say you're constantly trying to like present yourself in a way so that people are watching you, people are admiring you, or in some sort of sense, in some sort of sense, you want a reaction out of people because of you, which is good at some point. But if it's kind of becoming like a habit or addiction, it can get harmful, and let me tell you why. But first, let me tell you something. As I've already said, wanting validation as human being is normal. It's something like a human tendency. But if you think about it, in the past, people, compared to the past, like how people used to live in society, the people in our generation want validation more compared to the people in the past. And the reason is probably because of social media. Social media have made us think of us in a way that social media has made us believe about likes, comments, all this stuff. And you're basically caring about all these things all the time. You're like average human being nowadays spend like 4 to 5 hours on their phone. All they do is like scroll on social media and stuff like that. They care about what people are watching, what people are sharing, what is popular and stuff like that, what thing is getting attention and stuff like that, and they're posting this and that stuff for validation. Like, think about it. Social media was actually introduced as a form of reconnecting with people and stuff like that, but now it's more about validation rather than making memories and recreating moments. And this is where the problem really lies. And because of this thing, it also kind of creates a habit, and it is also a byproduct, and it kind of creates a byproduct in the real life as well, where people kind of get addicted to this habit of validation, and they constantly want validation from other people. So let me tell you something about this thing. If you also notice yourself being a part of it, where you have a tendency of wanting validation, so if you also notice yourself, seeking validation, if you're in a place where you constantly also want validation more than the normal human tendency, I think you might need to actually fix it. And yes, it's not a very big problem, by the way, but still it's something that we need to really consider about it. So yeah, if you really notice yourself being in this position as well, where you're constantly trying to seek attention, validation, it's like a habit for you now. It's about time that we start trying to change it now. So as I said earlier, social media teaches us to, seek attention constantly, continuously, where, all this like and comments and stuff, bullshit. In the end, it's just validation. And you have been training your mind in such a way that you want validation all the time. And now from the social media, from the internet thing, now it has also become a part of your daily life. And the danger is that your identity has been hooked to, reactions rather than your actual self. Like, you're not trying to be your actual self. Like, it is important to make yourself well mannered and stuff like that, I understand, but it is also important, like, the way you act. Like, you're changing the way you act because you want constant approval and constant validation. Like, I understand everyone changes the way that they act when they are around someone new, or even if they are strangers, or when they are like this is like normal human way of doing things. But if you're changing yourself, like the way you act, the way you do things, in a way where you want validation, where you want people to notice you and stuff like that, that is where you need to consider yourself, to sit down and try to change yourself, try to fix that problem. And there's no tips and tricks for this thing as well. It's not a very hard thing, it's not a very rocket science thing. It's very simple. First things first, you need to stop using social media in a way where you're constantly seeking approval and validation and stuff like that. And secondly, you need to stop thinking about what other people think that much, about all this validation stuff. Like, training your brain, reminding yourself that this is bullshit, and you'll eventually get through this thing. Like, seriously. Well, I personally myself have not been in that place where, like, an extreme validation addiction, but I would say, as normal human beings, because of this social media thing, I've also been in a place where I have been starting to want validation more than usual, like more than the usual human tendency, I would say. And yes, one more thing about this validation addiction is that you become motivated for validation and reaction. Like, you want to work because you want validation rather than for yourself. So if it goes to an extreme level, it can also get to this extent, right? Ask yourself, if all the validation, all the reactions and stuff like that isn't really there, will your motivation disappear as well? Will your motivation to work, your motivation to interact with people disappear as well? Think about it. I hope this video is helpful to you in some way. If you have any thoughts for this video or any problems with your life, you can definitely leave it down in the comments. Until then, stay disciplined.